Hello, mabuhay, and good day to each and everyone, most especially to Ma'am Janice Ahmad. I am Jasper Basilio.
And I am Eliza Ingbin.
And I am Nordana G. Arato.
And I am Vaineta M. Gabal. And I am Saida Ansari.
And now we will discuss the 5 random sampling techniques. Let's begin.
Lottery sampling is a sampling technique in which each member of the population has an equal chance of being selected. An instance of this is when members of the population have their names represented by small pieces of paper that are then randomly mixed together and picked out. In the sample, the members selected will be included.
Systematic sampling is a sampling technique in which members of the population are listed and samples are selected at intervals and called sample intervals. And this technique, every item in the list will be selected from a randomly selected starting point. For example, first step is to calculate your simple interval and how to determine your SI is your simplified and population. Your population is 100 and your desired sample size is 10. Therefore, your sampling interval will be 10. Let's say, for example, you have a list of your population. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 21 until you have in your list as your population to 100. Let's say, for example, from 1 to 10, you pick number 3 as your starting point, so this is also considered as your first example. Okay, so the second sample, you have to count, since your sampling interval is 10, you have to count to 10. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. Okay, so your second sample will be 13. Okay, so your first sample is the third, and the list of your population, your second example will be the 13, and the list your population, you do the same until you get 10 desired sample. Dapat dito na pala yun.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Jasper Basilio, and now I will be reporting about stratified random sampling. First, let's define what is stratified random sampling. It is a sampling procedure in which members of the population are grouped on the basis of their homogeneity. This technique is used when there are a number of distinct subgroups in the population within which full representation is required. The sample is constructed by classifying the population into subpopulations or strata on the basis of certain characteristics of the population such as age, gender, or socioeconomic status. The selection of elements is done separately from within each stratum, usually by random or systematic sampling methods. Now, allow me to give you a sample questions about this. I will be showing here the sample question. This one. Using a stratified random, select a sample of 400 students from the population, which are grouped according to the cities they come from. The table shows the students per city. Allow me to show you the table. Okay, so ang goal ng question dito is that kailangan natin humanap ng 400 students from 4 of these different cities. So, itong City A, we have 12,000 students, City B, 10,000 students, City C, 4,000, and D, 2,000 students. So, ganito ang gagawin natin to find the stratified random sampling. Okay? At the City A, we have 12,000 students, and nilagay natin siya dito. City B, 10,000, C, 4,000, and D, 2,000. So, ganito ang gagawin natin. Okay, first, ilalagay natin dito yung 12,000 is ang population ng CTA, di ba, as indicated here. Itong 28,000 is the summation of all of these cities. So, bali, kapag i-add mo ito siya lahat, there are 28,000 students. So, ang gagawin natin is that itong 12,000, i-divide natin siya sa 28,000, and then, after that, kapag may sagot na, i-times natin siya sa 400 students na kailangan natin, ang nag-goal natin kunin from 4 of these different cities. So, kapag 12,000 divided 28,000 times 400 is 171. Okay, ito naman, itong 10,000 naman is the CTB population, divide again into the summation of all of this city, which is 28,000 times 400 equals 143. Okay, next naman, itong city C, 4,000, divide the summation of all the population, 28,000 times 400 is 57. And the last one, 2,000, divide 28,000 times 400 is 29. Okay, 29. So, that's it. That is how I was able to get the stratified random sampling of the population. Thank you very much, and I hope you learned something.
So let's proceed to cluster sampling. What is cluster sampling? Cluster sampling is a random sampling wherein the population is divided into two groups or clusters, and then the clusters are randomly selected. All elements of the clusters randomly selected are considered the samples of this study. So, hahatiin natin yung clusters population depende kung ilang cluster ang gagawin natin. So, dito sa example is meron tayong 6 groups or 6 clusters. So, ang pagkuha sa cluster sampling is dapat by group. So, ang pagpili dito is dapat randomly selected. So, ang halimbawa na select natin is, halimbawa nito is 5 and 6. Itong cluster 5 and 6 and cluster 11 and 12. So, lahat ng kasama nung 5 and 6 and 11 and 12 is yun na yung magiging respondent natin. So, dito sa cluster sampling is in-cluster natin yung interpopulation, at kung ano man ang napili mong cluster ay lahat ng kasama ng cluster na yun ay yun na yung magiging respondent mo. So, since ang napili natin is yung cluster 5 and 6 and 11 and 12, ito na yung 5 and 6 and 11 and 12 is ito na yung magiging respondent natin or sample.
Multi-state sampling. Ang multi-state sampling uses a combination of different techniques. Like for example, when selecting respondents for a national election survey, we can use the lottery method. First, for regions and clients, and we can then use stratified sampling to determine the number of respondents from selected areas and clusters. So this is an example of a simple random sampling. So simple random sampling will be the names of 25 employees being chosen out of a hat from a company of 250 employees. In this case, the population is all 250 employees. And the sample is random because each employee has an equal chance of being chosen. Random sampling is used in science to conduct randomized control tests or for blinded experiments. So the 25 employees out of 250 are chosen out of a hat is an example of a lottery method at work. So each of the 250 employees would be assigned a number between 1 and 250. After which 25 of those number will be chosen at random, because individuals who make up the subset of the larger group are chosen at random, and each individual in the large population set has the same probability of being selected. This creates, in most cases, a balanced subset that carries the greatest potential for representing the larger group as a whole.